was the picture that defined January the 6th, 2024. This moment happened after Vice President Kamala Harris administered the swearing-in of new senators. Tradition dictates cordiality with political rivals, smiling for the cameras and air kisses even when insincere. But now many are accusing Republican Senator Deb Fischer's husband of snubbing Harris when Harris reached out for a handshake. Harris had to awkwardly reel her hand back in after Fischer's husband didn't shake it.
The situation appalled author Don Winslow, who wrote on X, "It's disgraceful that Bruce Fischer, husband to incoming GOP Senator Deb Fischer, cannot muster a few seconds of class to shake the hands of VP Kamala Harris. In my opinion, the only thing Bruce showed here was that pigs don't live on farms. He's a pig."
Podcast host Brian Tyler Cohen wrote, "The husband of a Republican senator just refused to shake hands or make eye contact with Vice President Harris. The level of class you can expect from MAGA."
But others said, not so fast. Now, while some Republicans cheered on the fact that Fischer's husband snubbed her, others actually had a different take, arguing that Fischer's husband's hands were full. So as you can see from the picture, he would have had to let go of his cane to shake Harris's hand. Actress and screenwriter Colette Harrington, for instance, wrote, "The man had a cane in one hand that he clearly needs and no place to put the Bible," which does suggest, what do you suggest, that he dropped the Bible on the floor? What kind of idiot wouldn't notice this and reach in for a handshake? Media personality Eric Erickson wrote, "By the way, let's just say hypothetically that Senator Fischer's husband could have let go of the cane to shake Harris's hand and didn't. There's a long list of puff pieces from the left of those who refused to shake Trump's hand." So this was very hotly disputed on social media the other day. I did weigh in and said that it looked to me like it was not a deliberate slight because, so he has a cane, he has the Bible so that Deb Fischer can place her hand on the Bible, and then she does take the Bible so that, but then he would maybe have to either shake with his left or switch the hand his cane is in. He's an older gentleman. I would not assume it was a malicious thing. Now, it could have been malicious. People said, aha, but Robby, he had a cane last time we did this, and he managed to shake Mike Pence's hand, and apparently there's video of him shaking, but there's also video of him shaking Joe Biden's hand when Joe Biden was the vice president presiding over this. So if it is malicious, it was not against all Democrats, but specifically against Kamala Harris. He might have just gotten older since then, and it's harder in a high-pressure we've all had embarrassing going in for the handshake or going in for the hug kind of moments, you know what I mean? And I don't like, based on very short video clips, that are often misleading, even though they don't look like they're necessarily misleading, we're lacking greater context. I, based on that, would not assert that it was done intentionally. It was maybe done intentionally. If it was done intentionally, my view is that that's not very respectful, and you should shake the hands of people on the other for the good of the nation, even if you have sincere, serious political disagreements. But it is his right to engage in some kind of protest and not do it, and I'm sure progressives would applaud a Democrat for doing that in certain circumstances with certain Republicans. So it's not something, to my mind, to get all exercised over one way or the other, but that's my take. What's yours?
My take is it is debatable what his intentions were. I do think that in addition to not shaking her hand, he appeared to be avoiding eye contact with her, which would fuel the idea that it is a snub of some kind. But look, it's not absolutely cut and dried. By her body language in reaction, I think did think it was a snub. She looked kind of slightly embarrassed or slightly taken aback by it. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe the issue was the cane, although, as you say, there have been other instances where the cane has not impeded him from shaking hands, including that of Joe Biden. If it were unintentional, then it's much ado about nothing. The man needs a cane. I don't want to mock or be in any way derisive about that. If it was intentional, I do think it is petty and small and not very helpful. I also think that this is one of those controversies where if the parties were reversed, the social media reaction and the cable news reaction would be completely the inverse of what they are. In other words, there are lots of people now saying, well, he's an older man who had a cane, where if he were a Democrat refusing to shake a Republican's hand, the world would be ending and it would be a disaster and acrimonious and disrespectful and all the rest. The same is true the opposite way around. So I think this is one of those furors that is going to be rather short-lived. If he snubbed her, he shouldn't have done that. If he needs his cane and was distracted, that's life. There is a slight tendency, I think, to just take every single thing that happens as fuel to throw into the outrage
yes,
furnace.
to work ourselves into permanent, hyper, overactive anger, etc., which is not healthy for us either. And so, yeah, I got a lot of engagement on this one for weighing in, perhaps too quickly on my part to say that I did not think it was a deliberate snub. Having looked at it a little bit more closely, I think it's more ambiguous than I thought it was at the time. I still can't tell one way or the other. And there are certainly some people who, if they were making it a deliberate snub, would want to make it clear that that's what it was, and then would subsequently given, like if it was Marjorie Taylor Greene or something.
Yeah,
right?
there's no doubt about it.
Should make sure friendly conservative media knew that it was done on purpose. He did not do that, so I don't know. I really can't tell.
There was a Republican senator, and I'm now blanking on who it was, who he wasn't especially warm to the vice president, but his daughters apparently wanted their own photo taken with her afterwards, which is kind of a nice touch and more what we want than this sort of.
Yeah, I think it's good for the nation, for our Republicans and Democrats to have collegial relationships and interact with each other in basically civil ways, to shake the hand of people on the other side. I think that's good and proper, and I like to see more. I like to see more of people who just totally disagree.
Yeah.
Getting, I don't care for the politics particularly at all of Michelle Obama or George W. Bush, but the fact that they're kind of friendly is nice. It shows. I think it teaches a lesson that we can be civil. This is a nation of people we're a pretty closely politically divided nation. We disagree very strongly on fundamental issues, but we need to all live together and work together and prosper, and that involves getting along. And so those demonstrations of people having that is I think a good thing. Now that that can go too far, because you and we're not going to like shake Hitler's hand or something, but it is a good thing generally as standard practice.
It is, and I think it is a good reminder that very rambunctious debates don't have to take away personal civility. And just finally, Robby, I would say fair credit to Vice President Harris. I've certainly had my criticisms of how she ran her election campaign. I thought she conducted herself through the sort of swearing in and the certification of Trump's election victory with, great dignity and civility, and I think that's a good thing.
Yes, I agree with that. Well, thank you so much for watching today. That does it for our show. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts, and we will see you back here tomorrow.